Hey everybody, my name is Matt Johnson, and I'm one of your classmates. It's fun to kind of get to meet you, right? Well, anyway, today we're going to talk about social class. One of the major themes of multicultural counseling is personal awareness. A counselor needs to be aware of their biases and influences upon each individual multicultural topic. This presentation is designed to make me and the rest of the participants more aware of power and privilege in our society. Since many privileges are implicit and invisible, the presentation aims to raise participants' consciousness about social, economic, and class privilege. First, you're going to need a piece of paper and a pen for this interactive presentation. I'm going to read a list of privileges, and then you need to consider whether that particular privilege applies to you or not. After I have read the first privilege, mark a hashtag on the piece of paper if this statement does pertain to your life. Yeah, I chose hashtag because it's fairly neutral and it's hip and cool, right? Then I'll proceed through the list of privileges. In addition to marking which statements are true for your life, there is something else that I want you to accomplish with this presentation. As you go through the presentation, I want you to be aware of your thoughts, your feelings, and your reactions as you decide whether a certain privilege pertains to you. At the end of the presentation, you will have a total number of hashtags for this presentation. Also, take a couple of extra minutes to reflect on your thoughts, feelings, and reactions to the statements or questions. When you're all done, please post the number of hashtags you gave yourself in the discussion thread. As the week goes on, I hope that we can have a productive discussion around the idea of social class influences on our life and within the counseling setting. Most of the benefit to this presentation will be in the discussion participation. This presentation is not meant to be disparaging or discriminate against anyone. Like I said before, this is to give us a better understanding of our privilege and social class awareness. Before I get into the list of privileges, let me give you an example of how this should go down. One of the statements that I'm going to give is, as a child, you never shared a bedroom. Now for me, I did have to share a bedroom with my stepbrother. So therefore, I'm not going to put a hashtag in my tally mark area, or I'm not going to give myself a hashtag. But one of the other statements is, you have never worked at a fast food restaurant. That is true. So I'm going to give myself a hashtag. And then I'm going to add up all of these hashtags as we go along. So, without further explanation and without further anticipation, here are the questions or statements that require a hashtag response. Statement number 1, as a child, you never shared a bedroom. If that is true, if you never shared a bedroom, then mark hashtag. Number 2, you have lived in a home with 4 or more bathrooms. That's right. If you lived in a home with 4 or more bathrooms, give yourself a hashtag. Next, as a child growing up, you never lived in a rented apartment. Moving right along, your family owns a summer home or a second home. Number 5, you have never worked at a fast food restaurant. If you have never worked at a fast food restaurant, mark hashtag. All right, you should be getting the hang of it now. You expect to get an inheritance from your family. That's right. If you expect to get an inheritance from your family, mark hashtag. No one in your family has ever been on welfare. Number 8, neither of your parents have ever collected unemployment benefits. Again, neither of your parents have ever collected unemployment benefits. All right, this one is close to home. You do not have to work in order to survive as a graduate student. Again, you do not have to work in order to survive as a graduate student. Number 10, as an undergraduate student, during the academic year, you never worked more than 10 hours a week. As an undergraduate student, during the academic year, you never worked more than 10 hours a week. You have never had to work a paid job on Christmas Eve or Christmas Day. Now, this is a little tricky because of ministry. I'll let you use your own judgment, but you have never had to work a paid job on Christmas Eve or Christmas Day. All right, next one. No one in your immediate family has ever been in jail. No one in your immediate family has ever been in jail. You have never bought anything using a layaway plan. Again, you've never bought anything using a layaway plan. Mark hashtag if that is true. You have always had health insurance. If you have always had health insurance, mark hashtag. Next one. You have traveled to a country outside the United States where you have no relatives. You have traveled to a country outside of the United States where you have no relatives. Mark hashtag if that's true. You have a trust fund, stocks, or bonds in your name. If you have a trust fund, stocks, or bonds in your name, mark hashtag. If you have purchased and worn a pair of shoes that cost more than $150, mark hashtag. As an undergraduate, you had a credit card that your parents paid for. Again, as an undergraduate, you had a credit card that your parents paid for. Number 19, just to make sure we're on the same page. All right, it is you have never shopped with food stamps. Again, if you have never shopped with food stamps, mark hashtag. You have never worked a job that involved an evening or night shift. Again, you have never worked a job that involved an evening or night shift. All right, we're almost done. Number, 21? Yeah, 21. You have never lived in a neighborhood that you consider unsafe. Last one, folks. At some point in your life, you have owned a brand new car. Again, at some point in your life, you have owned a brand new car. Mark hashtag. This exercise was adapted from the APA social class curricula, classroom exercises. Under class privilege exercise, you can see the web page attached to the discussion board. Also, a special thank you to Micah Johnson, my 8-year-old son, for sacrificing his time away from the Wii and sharing his skills in filming this presentation.